Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to process your face into a scan using Agisoft Metashape. Used to be called Agisoft photoscan. What I've got is just a series of images that I've took of my own face, literally with my phone, looking out at the window, and tried to keep my head and my eyes really still, focused on a point. I reckon this is going to be pretty noisy because my arm is having to move. So ideally you want someone else to take pictures of you. I've taken the pictures at the highest resolution on the phone, 40 megapixels. I'm using a Huawei P20 Pro. A bit of an older phone now, but still good photographs from it. So here's the 27 photos that I managed to take, and I've got Metashape open, and I just want to bring these in, so I'll just copy the location, and we're going to go to workflow and add photos and just choose all of these. I'm not going to worry about any masking or anything like that for the background, so I'm just going to go ahead and just go with what I've got here. I can always clean these up later. So for this you're going to need Zbrush as one of the main things to clean things up. Okay, so I've got all these, and go to workflow and I want to align the photos. I'm just going to go with default settings. Okay, so it's found a lot of similar points, and it's gave me a bit of a wonky angle. This always happens where it doesn't really know the orientation of things. It doesn't really have a good sense of the up and left and right or anything like that, but this is good. So there you can see the approximation from where the shots were taken. And I can already see roughly the shape of my face. Not perfect, but it's good considering just holding a camera. So next stage is to so I've done that, and we want to build the dense cloud. I think this takes a bit longer. Again, I'll just leave everything as default. Okay, that didn't take too long. So it's built a dense cloud, and to see that you can click on this, and you can see that's actually not too bad. It's a little bit wonky around the eyes, but for the most part this is pretty good for 27 handheld photos. I could spend a bit of time and done some more for under the chin, but I've got enough photo reference here as well to work that out. So not only have you got the actual scan as a good base shape, but you have got all your references, which is nice. And now it's going to go for the build mesh. Again, I'll just do a default. This is what it's going to give me, and this might take a little while. I'm using an RTX 3070 Ti, and I've got an i9 and 64 gig of 3700 megahertz RAM. Okay, that's pretty quick. So as far as I know, that's pretty much the full thing. We just need to build a texture. Not too fussed about building the texture at this point, because I don't really need to see the color. So I'll just export the mesh. So all I want to do is make sure when I bring the mesh back in, it's the same orientation. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky to work on. I want to make sure I keep this alignment as an original, and then I can work on it and then realign it to this one. Different ways of doing that. But anyway, let's export this. And vertex colors is already a good start. We don't need the texture, and we don't need any comment. Yeah, I'll just leave that as is. Okay, I'll boot open Zbrush. And you see it's already got the vertex color. Just press X to turn symmetry off, and I'm going to go for a different material, something basic material, but I also want to modify this. So I'm going to open up the modifier and bring up ambient, just a good bit like that. Right, and then I'm going to just duplicate this subtool. This is important because it keeps the mesh in the same position, and I don't change the the original scan. Okay, so all the back of it is gone. That's okay. I'm not too worried. I can approximate that with the photos and do that later. And all I want to do now is just use Control Shift and drag a bit of the face. And I want to grow this area. So if you go to Visibility, Grow All, it's going to only complete this if it's connected to this mesh, and everything else has been hidden. So I'm going to delete hidden, and to find delete hidden, it's under Geometry, Modify Topology, and delete hidden. Okay, that's cleared this one up, and I want to clean it up a little bit more, so I can go to Deformation, Polish, but press the little circle here and bring it up just a little bit to about 12, and that's going to clean it up just a tad. Don't need it too much because it is very lumpy and we don't want to lose too much detail. If I add too much polish, we might lose too much. Right, I'm going to bring it up a bit more. Actually, I'll do an undo and bring it up to about 44. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to turn off the poly paint because I just want to see the form here. So if I go to the subtool and press the little brush, that's going to turn that off. I'm going to go for a slightly grayer tone, and this is now good enough to work on. I'm going to duplicate it again so that I can work on a straightened up version. I just like to keep that kind of record of things, so I'm going to straighten this up and move it so it's center of the world, sort of. What I'll do is I'll reposition this later back to match the original scan before I export it. I just want it so that I can work on this. I'll turn off perspective and put symmetry on just to see where the middle is. Turn symmetry off. I'm going to unlock to reset the pivot and then press this one to center it, or in fact I can move this. Lock it again. I just want to move it a bit to the left so that when I press X, I want this symmetry point to be in the middle of the nose, so a wee bit more to the left. That's pretty good, right? So now I know I can work in symmetry. I can start to work on this mesh. So I'll do a bit of smoothing and things like that. I'm just going to turn RGB off just to avoid smoothing the right, this won't be perfectly symmetrical just yet. And the cool thing about this is I can turn the poly paint on and off again and see, you know, what's happening. This mesh is kind of triangulated, bit of a mess just now. Don't worry about that. We just want something we can sculpt on. I want to just work on this scan for a bit until I'm at a point where I can look at the reference. I'll just enhance some bits. You know, I know my own face pretty well, so that's a good help. Choosing trim dynamic and flattening and smoothing. At some point I could use Dynamesh as well. If I re-Dynamesh this, it's going to be low resolution, so what I like to do is I like to divide first and then delete lower, and this just helps to keep it smooth a bit and bring the resolution up. I want to keep it roughly about the same poly count. think at some point I probably would redo the scan and shave, maybe even shave my hair quite short, and then get someone else to take the pictures whilst being very still. It would be better. Okay, this is not too bad. I think at this stage I'll bring in the good topology from the metahuman, because this is part of the workflow I wanted to show, and I can build from there. So I'm just going to do an import, and I should have a head from here. I've got an updated head here. I don't know what this is. Let's just bring it in. Okay, yeah, it's this guy. That's fine. Don't need any images. No. Okay, so I'll go back here, and then I'm going to append this head here. And there's a bit of an issue with the scale and position being different for these, but that's okay. I can move these back later. So I'll just come out of solo mode, and yeah, I can see I need to move this down, scale it down. As long as I don't move the X position, I can in fact change that to 0 and center that, and I can move this later. Just center. It's not exactly the center, is it? Doesn't feel like the center for some reason, so I'm just going to move it manually, and let's turn these off and move this up. It's not the best match to my face, but it's good enough. And what I'll do now is just pull this head around until it matches. So make sure I've got symmetry on, and then I'll just manually pull things around to get them close. Right, and what I'll do now is I'll store a morph target on this one, because I want to keep most of this original shape, and then I'm going to move it just above the cleaned up head and do a project. So I'll do a project all, and you can see it missed some parts, so I'll make the distance a bit higher, and that's a bit better apart from the ear. Let's fix the ear later. Maybe I'll just use the morph for that, so let's do project all. And now I can switch to the morph brush, so B, M, and then G, and I can start to fix those parts I don't like and put them back to the original geometry quite easily, especially the ears. Right, and that's pretty good. Now let's just compare it again and move anything around. Okay, let's just switch between these. I can see the mouth much smaller. Let's put the ghost mode on, see if that helps. Maybe some wireframe or something. Quite hard to see. I'll just do it with that. Slowly realising how small my mouth actually is. I never realised it was that small. It's really quite strange to see this. Oh, perspective is on again, so let's fix that. Okay, no idea if it's looking like me just yet, but what we can do now is align this head. So I'll duplicate it first. I'll align this up with the original scan. So this one here, let's turn off the symmetry and rotate. We try to match the scan here. Because this head's already got UVs and things, we should be able to get something projected. So if I go to the UV master and do flatten, you can see it looks good. I'll do my best to get this as close as possible. Not easy. Start to see things are out quite a bit. This could be the scale, could be anything really. Right. I should have used the pose setting for this. Like, you can set the stage, you can set the staging. I think that's under stager. So you can set a home stage and a target stage. So I've already like rotated it, and there's no real way to get back unless I undo. So I'll try and go back to where before I rotated it. I have no idea where it is there. Yeah, you can see I've already rotated it there. Oh, yeah, that was the UVs. Strangely, it doesn't like to go. There we go. I want to go back to where it. There we go. Okay, rotate. Oh, all the way back to start. There. Okay. So I could use the store home stage, and now I can rotate it. And I would set this as a target stage. Because all the transforms get affected by this. This is tricky. Yeah, there's so many little things not quite position. Bit better. I think I'll need to kind of do it there. Right, and I'll try to use local symmetry here. See, the local symmetry doesn't work with the rotation, which is kind of annoying. That would be a nice feature if that's possible. Okay, so I'll set this as a target stage, and now you can see I can switch between these two stages, which is handy because I can go here, do my symmetry work, and see what's wrong with this. I want to pull the ears up. Okay, so switch. I've got symmetry here. I can use the move brush and pull the ears up a bit. Switch. That's not bad. Maybe this up a bit. Back a bit. I know that I don't have much of an earlobe. I'll just smooth that. Little. Switch. That's kind of good. Maybe in a bit more. Bring the eye out. And smaller. Down a bit, the left a bit. set that as a target again. So you just click it twice to reset it. So we can do switch. Yeah. See, this ear seems a wee bit out, so I don't know if that's rotation or I've got odd ears or something. But let's take this back now. Let's duplicate. Well, I've already got. I suppose I need to duplicate this mesh, so I'll just duplicate it and go back to the stager and switch the stage back to home, so that I've got an updated home one, and this one I'll keep here. This one is different now, I can delete that. This one was the messy scan, I can delete that. This one was the Dynamesh scan, I can delete that. So for just this down to just these three, so I'll save this as scan 1 now. Right, and the important thing is this one. I need this to be the same pivot as this. So I could try just export this and hope for the best, but I need to go back to this project and save it. Otherwise I could risk losing everything, so I'm gonna make sure I save this. Okay, it might take a while to save because there's a lot of photographs and all this information, and yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's just try that again. Right, and I hope and think that's okay. Right, so I'll try just export this mesh here. It's got UVs, and let's just try this roll one and hope that it comes in the same position. So workflow, I'm going to import a model. Okay, and it's this one. No, I don't need that. Replace default model. I'll say no, just to see where it goes. Okay, I don't actually see it anywhere. Let's try hide this one. Don't know if we can hide it. If I remove that, I think we're gonna lose. Oh, okay, it keeps all the dense cloud and things. So this is now the original model. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's fine. It is in place, so we can see good to see all three. Model solid, dense cloud. That looks pretty good to me, right? Looks like it's not moved. Cool, so that done, we can just build the texture. It's a bit hard to navigate this sometimes. Right, so I'm just going to build the texture because we've got the model and the dense cloud, so I'll try build texture. 8192, keep the UV, blend them on mosaic, whatever you want there. Diffuse map, source data images, that's fine. Yeah, okay. So if this works, we've got the metahuman head with my scan on it. not the best scan, but we can always clean it up. Okay, when it's done that, you can switch this to textured, and there you go. It doesn't look great, but it's only I think the eyes moved quite a lot, but in saying that, that looks pretty damn good. And see, it's quite noisy. It's obviously got all the big shadows in there, but I'm fairly impressed with that. So I could now, yeah, you can see there's some bits I need to work on. I could finish up the texturing or whatever, but in all fairness, I could, I can work with this, because all I wanted was the texture and the base form, and I have those now. So I need to bring that base back into my and line it up with the mesh and reset the pivots and things like that, reset the transforms, and then use my tutorial, which is on ArtStation. If you go to ArtStation Marketplace, and I think it's one of the trending tutorials here. Yeah, this one here. This is going to teach you how to then update your Maya mesh, and get the blend shapes all working, and then bring it into Unreal Engine, and then also adding even more the hairs and things. So I'll try cover that in a future video, but that pretty much wraps it up. All I have to do is export this. So I would just do export model. It automatically will ask me for the texture, so I'll call this head with texture. Alright, and there you go, export texture. I'm going to say PNG, I don't want any loss. Vertex normals and things, they're fine. Okay, so I'll go for that. And you'll see that I should be able to bring that texture into Photoshop and clean it up a bit, as well as paint on this mesh inside Substance Painter, fix anything like the hairs I could probably remake using XGen, but it gives me a really good approximation of everything. I can reproject some of my photos onto this if I wanted, but that's what it's already pretty much done, right? So let's just look at the texture just to see. I want to see that it's the right way up. Sometimes when you export from Zbrush, it's going to flip those UVs upside down and not flip them back again. Like you see when I unwrapped it, the UVs looked upside down. But let's just open here, and there we go. So here is my face looking pretty flat. You can see from here I could automatically start fixing things, like grab some color and just, you know, think about what should actually be there. You spend a bit of time cleaning this up at this level, and just, you know, general fix on things. Like, we don't need big shadows for sure, so all of this area that's dark would effectively just be, you know, lightened up a bit and made the same color. And this all depends on your lighting. If you've got a yellow light source, things are going to get a yellow tinge to them. So this is why I looked out at the window, because it's a nice overcast day. Ideally you could go outside and have someone take loads of pictures of you in an overcast day, not a sunny day, because you'll get the baked sunlight and the baked shadows cast from the sun. When I say baked, I mean like they become part of the color. So you want it kind of nice. So I'm just clone stamping here for a bit, just to get some areas, and hopefully when I reapply this to the mesh, it should all look good. So I'll check this out inside Marmoset Toolbag in a second. Let's just add a little bit of, like, I don't know, pretend textural detail here for the neck, just to help that. This can all be fixed, and this is just a a test really. I can use the spot heal here. Just fix a few bits of the hairs. And I don't know whether to fix that or not, but let's just use the smudge tool. I just want to fix that there. It looks a bit out. And that should do it. So I'll save back over that. Save, if it will. I think it is. Oh, it's hesitating, it's jumping all over the bit. Try that again. Okay, because no, it's currently being saved. Alright, so it's been saved and shouldn't take long. Now that that's done, let's have a quick look in Marmoset tool bag. I'll use the older one, don't mind which one I use, but let's just see how it looks. So import model. In fact, at this stage I could export the uprighted one, so I'm just going to switch to that one and export FBX, original head, Rob. I'll call it upright. Cool. And then I'm going to import that here, and let's grab the texture. Oops, wrong one. And Albedo, head of texture, that's the one, I think. Hopefully it's not flipped the UVs. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'll bring down gloss, I'll bring down that, and let's bring that to white. Let's put a light source in. That bit brighter, and also change it so it's less yellow. You can see it's just missing the eyes, but yeah, that from a side on view that kind of looks like me. You can see a bit more work needed on the textures there for the ears and stuff. This is the updated one, isn't it? It's hard to tell. Don't know if it's fully saved. Might have. So let's just fix a few more bits. Spot heal here and there. What I could do is I could always overlay the UVs, but in actual fact I would edit this in Substance Painter next. Let's just try a little subsurface scatter just to see it looking more skin-like. It's kind of nice. Obviously it's missing the normal map detail. There's no way just those few photos is going to give me a good normal map. But you can see where that could lead, and you see the topology is correct. So I know this is going to work. I might try and cover this in a future video when I've cleaned all this up. But this isn't the same texture because this is still very dark here. Let's try to do a still saving. Yeah, it's an 8K document and I'm asking it to save as a PNG, so it will take a while. Photoshop's not the fastest at saving. Let's see if we can intervene. Do a JPEG, do 1024 just to make it quick. Let's do head, I'll do Rob, head, 1K, JPEG. Switch that over. There we go. So yeah, you can see how I fixed these a bit. I need to fix behind there, and it's not too bad. But yeah, I would use Substance Painter for the most part of that there. You see the lips are a bit off. So that helps because I can now adjust the, I would adjust the mesh. to be, let's go to this one and use the stager. So yeah, we'll go back to the switch stage, make my adjustment, right, switch it back, check it with the original scan, turn that one off, and yeah, I can see I've made a bit of a correction there, so that helps because I can see that's just a bit out. Check anywhere else. The eyelid maybe needs to go up a bit more. See, there's too much geometry there that's caught some of the projected texture. Really just on this eye. So I'll switch to this one and bring that up a bit. I say it's more so on this one. I don't want to do too much asymmetry, even though there will be some naturally. I don't want to do too much of it. Everything else seems pretty good. So yeah, so now I've done that. I would do, this one's the older one now, this one's the adjusted, so this one is now delete. Duplicate this just so that I've got both of them for each stage, just it's a backup really. Save this as scan 1, export this as original, no, this is the OBJ, this is the original head Bob one. We don't want any texture anyway. Do that. Now go back into photoscan, delete the mesh here, remove model, file, import model. So it's going to update it, don't need UDIMs. There we go. Project, so let's do the workflow, build texture, diffuse map, images, keep UV 8192. You can go 16384 I think as well. You can go quite high with this. It's going to take a bit longer, and I think 8K is probably a sensible amount. Enable ghosting filter, that's to blend between things. I'm going to turn that off just to see what happens. I've already got the texture anyway. Okay, I just think it did something else, but yeah, so that's now a bit better at the lips, I think. Looks a bit more accurate. Texture's still pretty naff, but a good start. So that mesh is updated, the texture is updated. So really now I would export the texture again and fix that up, but again I can fix many things in Photoshop if I wanted. That's easy fixing, not Photoshop, but Substance Painter. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to support me by purchasing this asset, the scanned process. I'll maybe include here. Yeah, I'll include it here as an update. Anything else that I do with the scan stuff, I'll introduce here as well, and it's a bonus over and above some of the other stuff I've talked about. And yeah, really cool to see you guys make. If you get stuck on something, feel free to ask a question. Don't leave a review with any questions, because that's a bit awkward. Just use the messaging thing here. You can message me directly. Just click on my name and you can message me about anything about you want me to cover in here to bring the value of it up, you know, more value for money. So thanks for watching. Bye.